Lesson 2, Part 4, Indus Valley Civilization. Here is your 1 minute reading. You all know that India is a vast country with a rich diversity of climate and topography. The country therefore possesses a wide variety of flora and fauna. We have a very long history dating back to the prehistoric times. After the end of the prehistoric period or the Stone Age, India was the home of one of the four major river valley civilizations, the Harappan civilization that originated on the banks of the river Indus around 3000 BC. Great dynasties such as the Mauryas, Kushans, Satavahanas, Guptas, Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas and the Pallavas have ruled this land during different periods. They have made valuable contributions to drama, poetry, music, dance, architecture, sculpture, painting, and other arts. Foreigners such as the Greeks and Romans who came to India as traders and invaders sometimes settled down here, intermingled with the local people, and thus influenced Indian history, art, and culture. The languages of India are almost numerous. Each region of India has evolved its own distinct art styles. Although the languages and arts of each region of India are different from one another, each region shares many common things with the rest of the country. From time immemorial, Indians have been traveling from one corner of the country to the other on pilgrimage. This has resulted in a free exchange of ideas, customs, and art traditions between the different regions of India. Thus, we share many common beliefs and values. The two great epics, the Ramayana and Mahabharata, are known throughout the country. We are all Indians, and the rich heritage of India belongs equally to all of us. We must realize that if we lose our precious heritage, we cannot get it back. Hence, it is our sacred duty to preserve our heritage. According to the Constitution of India, preserving our natural and cultural heritage is the fundamental duty of every citizen. If anyone is dirtying or disfiguring any monument, you must warn him not to do so. Thus, you too can join hands with our government and volunteer organizations in preventing India's rich heritage for future generation. Next is introduction to the lesson. Harappan civilization is a very famous civilization that flourished in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. This civilization extended over a very wide area including Sindh and Balochistan in Pakistan and Gujarat, Rajasthan and the western parts of Uttar Pradesh in India. It was thus one of the largest civilizations of the ancient world, larger than the Mesopotamian and the Egyptian civilization. Harappan civilization, it is also called the Indus Valley civilization after the river Sindh or Indus that flows in this region. This is the map which shows India's relationship with the other continents. For example, in Africa, it had relationship with Egyptians. And in European continent, it had relationship with Rome. And in Saudi Arabian countries, in Mesopotamia, and in China also, it had trade relationships. And in India, these yellow shaded region describes the excavational regions. For example, some major sites of the Indus Valley civilizations are Lothal in Gujarat, Rokpur in Punjab, Kalibangan in Rajasthan, Alamgirpur in Uttar Pradesh, Banawali in Haryana. The two newest sites are Rakhigarhi in Haryana and Dholavera in Gujarat. This is the ruins of Harappa. Harappa is situated on the banks of the river Ravi in Montgomery district of western Punjab. Now it is in Pakistan. It was discovered by Dayaram Sahini. Mohenjo-daro means mound of the dead. It is located on the banks of the river Indus in the Larkana district of Sindh, now in Pakistan. It was discovered by Rahildas Banerjee in 1922 to 23. About 2,800 sites have been discovered so far, making the Indus Valley civilization the largest civilization of the ancient world. Next comes the town planning. The Harappan culture was distinguished by its excellent system of town planning. Both Harappa and Mohenjo-daro consisted of two parts, the upper city and the lower city. The upper city was built on a huge platform and was called the citadel or acropolis. Many large buildings were located here. The king and other rich people lived here. The poorer people lived in small houses below the citadel in the lower city. The houses were located close to each other in straight roads. Every house, big or small, had its own courtyard and bathroom. In Kalibangan, many houses also had wells. Wastewater from the houses flowed into the drains along the streets. The street drains were equipped with manholes. Laborers used to jump inside the manholes in order to clean the drains. The river Indus often flooded the cities and villages situated on its banks. People prevented the flood waters from entering the village by erecting walls of burnt bricks. Here I want to share about the ASI. ASI is nothing but Archaeological Survey of India. The main work of this department is to preserve the ancient monuments. Lord Dalhousie, the Governor General of India, took steps to protect the historical monuments and buildings. He started a department of archaeology for the protection of the monuments. This department is functioning actively and conducting excavations throughout India. Next comes the public buildings. Public buildings, here it includes the Great Bath, the Great Granary, the Assembly Hall. First we will see about the Great Bath. The most impressive public building in Mohenjo-daro is the Great Bath. It is a large bathing tank situated in the citadel area. It is entirely built of bricks. Stairways lead to the bottom or floor of the tank. Water was supplied to the tank from a neighboring well. The dirty water in the tank was drained out through an outlet in a corner of the tank. Adjoining the tank, there were rooms where the people could change clothes. It is said that the Great Bath was mainly used for ritual bathing, that is, special baths that people had during festivals and other religious ceremonies. Next comes the Great Granary. Granary is nothing but it acted as a storehouses where the people of Indus Valley civilization stored their grains. The Great Granary at Harappa was a large building. Historians believe that it was used to store surplus food grains. There were 2 rows of granaries. Each row had 6 granaries. A similar granary has been found in Mohenjo-daro. All the granaries were built close to the river bank so that the grains could be easily transported with the help of boats. Near the Great Granary in Harappa, circular brick platforms have been found. You can see it in the picture, which were probably used for threshing grain. There were also many furnaces where metal workers produced a variety of objects. Next comes the Assembly Hall. The Assembly Hall was another striking building found in Mohenjo-daro. It was a pillared hall with thick walls and 20 pillars made of baked bricks. This may have been an assembly hall, a prayer hall, or a palace. Next is the excellent drainage system. Drainage, it is nothing but it is the process by which water or liquid state is drained out from an area. The people of the Indus Valley had an excellent, well-planned drainage system. The kitchens and the bathrooms had drains connected to the street drains. The street drains ran along the side of the streets and were usually covered. They had manholes at regular intervals. For manholes, it is for regular checking and inspection as well as cleaning children. The drainage system proves that the Indus Valley people paid great attention to the sanitation and cleanliness. Next is the characteristics of the Indus Valley civilization. Here comes the society. Harappan society probably consisted of several social groups like rulers, merchants, traders and artisans, farmers and manual laborers. Next is the food. Wheat was the staple food. They also grew barley, mustard, fruits and vegetables, milk, meat, fish and eggs formed a part of their diet. Next comes the dress and ornaments. People wore cotton and woolen garments. The men wore a garment similar to the dhoti while the women wore skirts. Both men and women wore ornaments. The rich wore ornaments made of gold, silver and ivory. The poor wore shell, bone and copper jewelry. The men kept beards. Their hair was combed. The women probably tied their hair tightly. They also used cosmetics. The Indus Valley people preferred indoor games to outdoor activities. They spent their free time dancing, singing, and playing board games with dice. They also played a game similar to modern chess. The children played with various toys like wheeled carts, dolls, animals with movable heads, sliding monkeys. The toys were generally made of baked clay or terracotta. Terracotta is nothing but reddish brown clay that has been baked. Okay. Next comes the occupation. The main occupation of the people of Indus Valley was farming. Farmers grew wheat, barley, fruits and vegetables. They also cultivated cotton and were the first people in the world to do so. The farmers sowed the seeds in the month of November and they reaped the harvest in April. They used wooden plowshares to plow the fields. The farmers produced enough food for the people in all the villages and towns. Next comes the domestication of animals. Animals like goats, sheep, buffaloes, elephants and humped bulls were domesticated. Dogs and cats were kept as pets. Asses and camels were used as beasts of burden. The Harappans were also acquainted with the elephant and rhinoceros. They, however, do not seem to have used the horse. Next comes the art and craft. The Indus Valley people were excellent potters and skilled craft people. They made pottery of various shapes and sizes on the potter's wheel. These pots were generally glazed and painted. They made terracotta female figurines which were probably symbolic of the mother goddess. They also knew the art of using metals. The goldsmiths made gold and silver jewelry. The coppersmiths made utensils and the bronzesmiths made tools, weapons and metal sculptures such as the famous figure of the dancing girl. They were also engaged in other crafts like bricklaying, boat making, stone cutting, carpentry. Spinning and weaving were important occupations. They traded with countries like Mesopotamia, Persia and Afghanistan. They exchanged food grains and other agricultural products with one another. Trade was probably carried on by barter system. Trade was carried on both by land and sea routes. Bullock carts, boats and ships were probably used for transport. Next comes the seals. More than 2000 seals have been unearthed from various sites. They are generally small, flat, rectangular or square in shape and made of clay, soapstone and copper. They are skillfully carved with figures of humans and animals such as the unicorn, humped bull, goat, tiger, elephant, etc. These seals were probably used by merchants and traders to stamp goods. Seals are valuable sources of information about the life and culture of the people and tells us a great deal about their religious beliefs, artistic skills, trade contacts, dress and ornaments. Some of the objects found in the ruins help us to form an idea of the religion of the Harappans. No temples have been found. The Harappans worshipped the earth as Mother Goddess. Mother Earth was the giver of food grains, fruits, and vegetables. They seem to have worshipped images made of earthen clay. They also worshipped Lord Shiva in the form of Pasupati Mahadeva or the Lord of Animals. A Harappan seal shows their deity surrounded by animals such as the elephant, tiger, rhinoceros, buffalo, and deer. People also revered trees and animals. The Harappans believed that ghosts and evil forces were capable of harming them. Hence, the people wore amulets to protect themselves from the ghost. The Harappans cremated or buried the dead. They believed in life after death. The peepal tree was probably regarded as sacred and worshipped. From the Harappan seals, we learn that Harappans know the art of writing. The script has over 400 signs or alphabets. Some of the letters or alphabets of their script appear to be pictures of various objects. Each picture may denote a particular idea, object, or sound. Such a system of writing is called picture writing or pictographic script. Unfortunately, epigraphists have so far been unable to decipher the Harappan script and the language. Next comes the administration. Judging from the excellence of the Harappan civilization, it is clear that the cities were efficiently governed. However, we do not have exact information about their government. There is no evidence of kings or queens. Each city was probably looked after by a committee consisting of rich merchants and priests. Decline and destruction of Indus Valley civilization. The Indus Valley civilization, which flourished for about 1,000 years, came to an abrupt end. Scholars have put forward various theories to explain its collapse. Natural calamities like earthquake, floods, or epidemics may have destroyed the cities. Invasion by foreign tribes like the Aryans may have led to its destruction. A change in the course of the river Indus may have made the land infertile. Here I want to share some facts about our Indians, their discoveries and inventions. The decimal system was developed in India in 100 BC. Indians discovered arithmetic and geometric progression. Arithmetic progression is explained in Yajurveda, one of the oldest literary composition in any Indo-Aryan language. Aryabhatta first was the first to explain the spherical shape, size, diameter, rotation and correct speed of Earth in 499 AD. India invented the number system. Pingalacharya was the inventor of zero in 200 BC. Newton's law of gravitational force is an ancient Indian discovery. In Siddhanta Shiromani Bhaskaracharya II gave a description of the gravity of Earth about 400 years before Sir Isaac Newton. The value of pi was first calculated by Aryabhatta first in 499 AD. Baudhayana discovered Pythagoras' theorem in 800 BC. That is 300 years before Pythagoras, Greek mathematician and philosopher. Sushruta is the father of surgery. 2600 years ago, he and health scientists conducted surgeries like cesareans, cataract, fractures, and urinary stones. Usage of anesthesia was well known in ancient India. He was the first person to perform plastic surgery. Chess was invented in India. Yoga is an ancient Indian gift to the world. Ayurveda is the earliest school of medicine. The earliest reservoir and dam to water land so that it can produce crops was built in Saurashtra, that is present day Gujarat, in western India. All the atomic reactors in the world are in the shape of Shivalinga, that is an elemental form of Lord Shiva, which is an Indian contribution. Sage Patanjali, a great man of knowledge and experience, discovered sound waves. The Indus Valley civilization is India's earliest known urban civilization. The Harappan cities may be in ruins, but the reconstruction and rediscovery of our ancient culture from these ruins instill in us a feeling of great pride in our ancient and glorious past. Thank you, children. Following this, we have activities, so you please do it and file it. Thank you, children.